Yo, what's going on, everybody? And this is the Red Cup Live. It is great to be back. Sorry for the little delay there. I actually am multitasking right now. It has been weeks. It has been damn weeks because up here in the Northeast, we've been blasted with snow. But we are back with a new time. If you guys that come in and are happy that it's now starting at 8 o'clock instead of 10, this might not be a permanent thing. Just let me know. Make sure you like the video and welcome. Let's get started, guys. We are here joined by Baz from the Source Wall. It's good to have you back, Baz.
Thanks, man. What's up, guys? Glad to be back.
And make sure to keep the chat blowing up with any questions and anything we talk about. Make sure to write your opinions in the chat from periodically. We like to kind of know what the hell is going on over in there. And we are also joined by my man, Jason, reaching out to me from the Odd Couple Statue Reviews. I fucking love this guy. Right now, he's actually in the future right now. To us in New York on the East Coast, he's living in the future. He's from Australia. Say what's up, buddy.
Hey, buddy. How you going? Thanks for having me on, Rob. Always good to talk some DC stuff with you guys. Love being on the show. And just shout out to Edwin Diaz in the chat who's jumped in and given us some support too. So g'day, guys.
I got to tell you, I fucking love this dude, Edwin. Like, he's constantly dropping likes and comments on the Red Cup and everybody else's stuff. He's the fucking man. I mean, how could you not like this guy? All right, guys. The elephant in the room. We are one day removed from the opening, the premiere of Captain Marvel, the new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, and half of the world loves it and half of the world hates it. There's only one of us here, though, that actually saw it. Baz, take it away.
Okay, so I did have problems with the casting of the lead. This is when it was first announced. I thought it was a miscast. I didn't think she had any charisma to carry a superhero film. And then I saw the trailers, and I didn't like her line delivery. I didn't like what the actress was saying in some of the press junkets she was going to and some of her interviews. So I got a little turned off towards the movie, and I actually wasn't going to go see it. But then the thought came to me. I was like, listen, if I stop myself from going to see every movie where I disagree with the actor on something, I'm never going to see another movie again. Okay. So, and also I was a fan of the source material. I mean, as a kid, I read the Marvel comics when it was originally Captain Marvel, the Kree Skrull War. I was really into as a kid. And just the Marvel Cosmic universe I was really into. So I was like, you know what? I want to see this. I'll go see this for the Skrulls at the very least. The introduction of the Skrulls to the Marvel Cinematic Universe is actually a big thing. We've been waiting for this, So I went in about like 10, 15 minutes in. I mean, there was an action scene occurring, and I'm actually looking at the exits. And I start looking at my phone, and I'm wondering to myself, why am I bored? I'm like, this is just not doing it for me. It's so bland. And I just did not like the movie. It was, I give it like a C. It was something that I would never, I feel I regret paying for, actually.
Wow, that's some strong fucking words right there, bro.
And I was giving it a chance. And Brie Larson just was for me, she was terrible. I wouldn't hire her for a high school play.
Was there anything you did like about the movie?
And then what I did like, there was one action scene I enjoyed when she was fighting Skrulls in the first half of the movie. That's about it. Other than that, I didn't like, I mean, they show you how the Avengers were actually named, and it's cringe. It's horrible. It's almost disrespectful. Samuel Jackson, though of course he's always entertaining, he is not badass at all. They make him like almost comic relief in this, to the point where it's like almost two characters from Winter Soldier and this. So, the way he got his eye taken out is horrible. It's
right before we had our discussion earlier today, and I had told you I was going to call another friend of ours and talk to him because he actually liked it. And he was like, in a rough brief, he was like, look, I liked it better than Thor: The Dark World and Iron Man 2. He's like, it was good. It wasn't great. He was like, it was pretty fun. It was pretty enjoyable, like a typical Marvel movie. It was all right. So after he says all this, I say, okay, well, So then, like, I heard this. I heard like about how the Avengers were named. I heard about Nick Fury's performance. And I'm trying to be as obviously non-spoilery as possible right now. And he was like, "Yeah, that was pretty whack. Yeah, that was pretty stupid. Yeah, that was a lot different. Yeah, Nick Fury is not the Nick Fury that you know, and that was kind of stupid and a bad idea too." And I'm like, "You just said you liked it, and now you're spending the next so many minutes telling me how kind of dumb a lot of the decisions were in the movie." So I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, like, and he's not a fanboy. He's like, yo, I don't give a fuck about Captain Marvel. I only like Captain Marvel when she had her powers taken by Rogue back in the day. He was like, I just found it, kind of enjoyable. He's like, but everything that you're mentioning is kind of stupid and kind of like just, I don't know.
Well, in the comics, this character, Carol Danvers, is actually better as Ms. Marvel. And the better Captain Marvel is actually Monica Rambeau, who was actually her friend's daughter in the movie. So she was actually involved in Secret Wars in the 1980s.
That's the Black Captain Marvel, right?
That's the Black Captain Marvel, yeah. She's actually an interesting character. She actually was a leader of the Avengers in the comics, and her powers are a little bit different. They're cool. So she's actually introduced in the movie as a young girl. So hopefully I'm looking forward to Endgame, because this takes place, in modern times, so she's older. So
yeah, and also in the 90s comics run, Carol Danvers was a leader of the was it the West Coast Avengers, I believe, where they had the East and West teams.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you have to say about it, Mr. Amazing Larry? Anybody in the chat right now that saw this movie that wants to comment, by all means, drop a line. Let us know what you thought, if you saw it at all. I'm seeing, again, a lot of people on the Sideshow pages. The Sideshow fan pages are like, greatest thing ever, have to order a hot toy of this. And I never understood that. Like, I'm going to run out and spend $250 on a character I just saw, unless it's like so mind-blowingly good, like Heath Ledger Joker level good, to spend that kind of a money out of nowhere on something.
Hype and heavy advertisement does eventually influence you.
No, I know. Well, it just, to me, it comes across as flavor of the month. I don't know.
Well, actually, you just said it right there, Rob. I've never seen a movie since probably the last Star Wars movie that's had this amount of advertising and just bombarding. Like I don't talk about it online. Like I'm not one of these people that jump on and say, I think the movie's going to be shit or anything like that, because I haven't seen it. You know what I mean? I have my own opinions, but until I've actually seen it, I keep it to myself. All I've pretty much said is I'm more excited for the Shazam movie than Captain Marvel. That's the only thing I've said about it. And my newsfeed is just flooded with bloody ads of, it's in cinemas now, come see it now, check out this trailer, check out this website ad that features Captain Marvel, and you're like, why? I haven't actually mentioned her in chats or anything like that to actually get that algorithm going. So the amount of money they're throwing at, and on TV and radio and the sides of buses and that around here, there's advertisement everywhere. They've spent, I'd say, probably double what they've spent on the actual movie just on advertisement for it, to try and counter a lot of that negative publicity that she generated for it.
I'll tell you, I'm not I haven't seen a Marvel movie that I didn't like. I didn't care necessarily for Thor 2, but just because, not that I didn't care for it, I enjoyed it when I saw it in the theater. I saw it once, a little bit on TV afterwards, like just parts of it, but I kind of enjoyed it. It was just forgettable. So I didn't see a Marvel movie where I was like, oh, that was fucking horrible, man. Like, I'm never going to watch that again. Most Marvel movies have like that, oh, it's on in the background and we're eating dinner. Fuck it, leave it on, like whatever, for the most part. Even Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, I don't like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I wound up loving that movie and the second one, But with Captain Marvel, I was kind of like, my biggest fear is that we've had 10 years of buildup, right, for them facing Thanos, and then we're going to have some kind of Deus Ex Machina where, like, she just flies in to save the day a month before the finale. Like literally a month before we're waiting for the ending, this girl's going to come in and just save everybody. And I don't know, it just kind of, maybe it won't play out like that, but that's like one of my fears is.
Yeah. And look, I'm with you there too. Like, a lot of people think that I'm a Marvel hater and that, which I'm not. I've got Marvel comics, Marvel pieces. I grew up watching the X-Men like the rest of you guys and all that sort of stuff. And and I've got to say this exactly the same, Rob. There's not a Marvel movie that I hate. You know, there's not one that if it's on like on a Friday, like you're flicking through the channels on a Friday night, and oh shit, you know, even the old Hulk ones and that. Oh yeah, hey, it's a superhero film, man. I'm gonna watch. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I love that sort of stuff. But yeah, like I'd say for me, it was just more plot holes. You know, like you see things and go, hang on a minute, why is this happening when they had that excellent source comic material and they've twisted it and cheapened it to just get through it quicker? You know what I mean? And you're like, man, you know, like they're the ones that got me, like Civil War. You know, would I watch Civil War? Would I go to the cinemas back in time and that to see it again? And that, hell yeah, I would. But you know, because who doesn't want to see that scene at the airport when Spider-Man's there and
exactly
facing off against each other? That's a brilliant cinematic scene. But the context of it all and that was wrong to what the awesome story they had in the comics. And you know, you get the male fans that then say to me, "Oh yeah, but they didn't have the rights to the mutants and that, so they couldn't do that. You know, they had to come up with a different idea." Well, that deal was already in the works. You would have held that story off until you had the rights to say that, yeah, it was about the Mutant Registration Act and stuff like that instead, you know?
Yeah.
So
the greatness of Civil War is just that airport scene.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Where the greatness of Civil War, really, to people who read the comics, was the actual story. What actually pitted two best friends, Captain America and Iron Man, against each other. Not, oh, your best buddy that you grew up, who was brainwashed, mind you, at the time, killed my parents, and I must get revenge on him. Well, he didn't do it, man. He was bloody mind controlled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, well, hold on. Where did those cameras come from that filmed it? Remember, they had video of the Winter Soldier killing his parents
in the 1970s or early 80s.
That didn't hold up too well.
No.
But and what they did to Zemo, I thought was terrible. I thought he was a horrible villain.
Oh, yeah. And look, that's my one gripe. Besides Thanos, they haven't done a villain right yet.
Thanos was done so goddamn good, man.
Thanos was an improved. Like I say that's one of Marvel's biggest gripes with their movies, that they always make the villains too weak or their origin just not based in reality, that you just look and go, I just want to see this guy get smashed. You know, like you got, and that's the beauty of the Marvel villains. Like you look at Victor Von Doom, Baron Zemo, characters like that. When you look at their history, you actually feel some level of sympathy for them. Like you understand their motives and their reasons. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where in this, you just didn't. There was no investment in the characters at all. They were sort of like Ultron. You know, prime example, Ultron, right? You're just like, man, this cocky robot needs to get his head taken off.
Yeah, I think that the see, I'm in the vast minority. I liked Iron Man 2. I liked Age of Ultron. I know a lot of people give those movies shit. I think when it came to Age of Ultron, I just wanted to see the heroes just smash shit at that point. I want to see them all together just doing superhero-y type stuff, and I got that. I think that Marvel, the MCU, they focused on the heroes more. They were like, these movies are about the heroes, so the villains are really going to play second banana. Yeah. Now, the way Avengers Endgame worked, where they had a perfect balance of it, and they were able to develop Thanos, and that really wasn't necessarily a Thanos movie. Like, you got him. I thought he was a better character in the movie than he wasn't even in the damn comics.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know? 100%. So whereas like take a movie like the 89 Batman movie, and I know we're all fans of the Keaton Batman movie, that movie is really just like the Joker movie, co-starring Michael Keaton, you know?
What are and look, even that and The Dark Knight, would these movies have been as good if they didn't put the effort into the Joker's story?
Yeah, and like really have like the villains as almost like the main characters.
The Joker just rocked up and started doing shit out of the middle of nowhere. People would be like, I got no interest in this guy. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, totally. I understand that. I think that Marvel, like one of the biggest excuses, like at least for Iron Man 2, like when they're like, oh, you wasted Whiplash. To me, it's like Whiplash is a fucking D-list villain anyway.
Yeah.
You got Mickey Rourke. You're wasting his character. But that movie was really more about Tony's struggle with his sickness, and he just was the villain in the movie, but not necessarily the focal point of the struggle between him and Tony.
I always forget his name. Who's the Russian guy in the red suit? That's
Crimson
like
Dynamo. They took Whiplash and Crimson Dynamo and put them together.
Yeah,
and made
that's the one you need to like. If they wanted the big finale of Iron Man, and that's the one that they needed to do it with. What they did to the Mandarin was just bloody wrong.
Yeah, that kind of bothered me too. See, I also liked Iron Man 3 because I like watching Robert Downey Jr. act. A lot of people are like, that movie's terrible. And it's like, look, Robert Downey Jr. could rearrange his sock drawer and it'll be entertaining.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there's that. It bothered me that it wasn't an Iron Man type movie and it was more focused on Tony Stark, but because the only person that can carry a movie like that is Robert Downey Jr. Now, I thought that the Mandarin should have been like the rings of the Mandarin, like that. Remember in the first movie when he's in the cave, they show you those rings on the television
they actually show you that these guys were soldiers of the 10 rings of the Mandarin.
That would have been a perfect friggin' tie-in for that, and a way to bring back like like they did in the Dark Knight when they brought back the League of Shadows with Bane. It would have been a perfect way to bring back Mandarin, and I thought they should have just kept him like that. Whereas a lot of people were like, nah.
And then scene where you see, let the Mandarin know we've secured the 8th ring, or something like that, like,
yeah,
knowing that rings that he's going to be mega powerful and
I guess. See, I know you guys hated The Last Jedi. I'm not trying to turn this into a Star Wars conversation, but the way that some people felt about Luke tossing the lightsaber is the way I felt when he was like, "Ole, ole, ole, I'm the Mandarin." And it was like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah,
and they're such a great actor.
My name is Terry. I'm just an actor. I didn't know what they were doing. You're like, oh, come on, man. Seriously?
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of like, weird and out of place.
And they could have done to redeem it, even have an end scene where you see the real Mandarin sitting there, like just see his hand with the ring just clenched and like slam it on the table, when the plan all falls apart.
Yeah.
I think there's a Marvel short that they went back and they filmed that actually does something like that.
Well, they would talk about he's in jail or something, right? And he was like like he winds up getting got by the real Mandarin or some bullshit, but they're not going to revisit. Like that's it though. That's in the past, fellas. That's years ago. It is the way it is at this point, I would say.
It's like the of Justice League that we'll never see.
Oh God, we'll see that in 30 years when they have like when they did the Richard Donner cut for Superman 2. You'll get like the real version of Justice League.
I've actually had that argument with people. They go, "Oh, it's there," and I'm going, mate. He filmed 75% of the first movie and 15% of the second. It was meant to be a 2-part movie. And even Schneider said the full version of the film does not exist on film.
Okay. Well, then that's it.
That's why we'll never see it. Look, you're right. In 25 years' time, they'll release the Schneider cut that'll have that footage that he recorded in it, but it won't be the full thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be like a version of it, so to speak.
Yeah, a version of a version. Yeah.
Rob, just a fan. What's up? It's good to see you. Shout out to the guys in the chat room. Remember to keep the chat flowing. Remember to like the video, guys. And let us know again if this is a cool time, if 8 o'clock works better for you. I know, Rob, you're digging this, but everybody else has got to let us know as well. All right. Speaking of Captain Marvel, the real Captain Marvel.
The big red cheese.
For those of you that know, the Sleeping Giant podcast. All right, real quick. I want to talk about the real Captain Marvel in a second, but I got to segue for a second, gentlemen. The Sleeping Giant podcast, we're trying to coax him to get on the show. He runs a podcast. His name's Grayson. It's called the Sleeping Giant podcast. So you should go and listen to that because I was actually –
if so, he's very cool.
He's a cool fucking dude. I was on his podcast this past month for the February episode, and we discussed the difference between 6-inch, 1-scale toys, collecting, how to keep your collection focused, stuff like that. And we kind of did like this mini retrospective of what the Red Cup review is and where the name was born out of and all that. So if you have any interest at all to know anything more about me besides I'm just the guy that talks shit once a week to you guys and sometimes reviews toys, by all means, go listen to the Sleeping Giant podcast. And actually, the episode before the one I'm on, he does he focuses on the 2-parter of the X-Men cartoon from the 1990s, the Night of the Sentinels Part 1 and 2. Him and his guest on that break that whole thing down, and that's actually like one of my favorite episodes of his. So shout out to the Sleeping Giant podcast. Go and subscribe and check him out. Anyways, real Captain Marvel, Shazam. I can't tell you guys that after this, I was already looking forward to this, but after this last trailer, man, I'm so damn sold on this freaking thing. When he's in the toy store and he picks up the Batman thing, goes, "Go get him, Batman!" And he throws the Batman toy. That had me and the wife crying. And It was just hilarious. Oh, Sleeping Giant podcast on YouTube. No, he doesn't go live. This is a podcast only, and you can get it on like iTunes. And he has a Facebook page. You can see him on Facebook, but it's mostly on iTunes. I get him on the podcast app on my phone from the iPhone. Anywhere you can get podcasts, just type in the Sleeping Giant, or by all means, Grayson, write in like where the hell they could find you in the chat room and let them know. I'm loving this freaking movie, guys. I can't tell you. I know you guys are loving it too.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm ecstatic. From the moment I saw the first scene, like, you know, where people were bagging it and going, you know, when he walks into the service station, can I please see your finest beer, please? And the woman just over there, you know. I actually read the Jeff Johns Shazam run, you know, and I love it. I love Jeff Johns, you know, like, I'm not gay, but if I was going to let any dude have his way with me, it'd be that guy. You know, like, when he got stood down from DC Comics, I was like, oh my God, here we go. Like, this is a disaster. Only for him to pop back up at Warner Brothers as the head of the new DC TV and film division that they've created. And basically, they've been given carte blanche to do what they want. You know, as long as they keep making money, Warner Brothers will let them do what they want.
Oh, so Warner Brothers is now taking the same stance that Disney took with Marvel, where they're actually going to let...
Well, they're saying, look, if you can prove you're making money, then we can do it.
Jay, I'm going to Turkey's for lunch. I didn't think you'd want to come.
Okay.
You're busy here. I've just...
All right.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so basically... What was I saying? Bloody
the Captain Marvel movie. Not Captain Marvel movie. The Shazam movie. He's fucking Captain Marvel. I don't care what anyone says.
I love interruptions.
Well, you know, like, so we've already seen Aquaman, we've seen Teen Titans, and we've seen now Doom Patrol, which has all come out under Jeff Johns, you know, under his umbrella of the new division. I can't see Shazam being bad, man, and everything I'm seeing is pointing to it being a great movie. When you've got some big reviewers and that already calling it the best DC film they've seen since Christopher Reeves put on the cape, man, that's a big call.
That's pretty crazy, because they were saying the same shit about Aquaman. I'm wondering if that's becoming. I'm afraid that that's going to become the new in thing to say. It's the best thing since the last time I just said it was the best thing, and I thought Aquaman was great. I'm liking everything I see about it. I think that most people that I'm reading that don't like it, with the exception of Rob, because Rob seems to know what he's talking about in the chat as far as the old school Shazam. What's the character? A lot of people are like, I'm not feeling it. What is this about? It's like, my answer always is, do you even know the character? I never get an answer back, by the way. I always go, do you know who Shazam is? Are you familiar with the character? And I never get an answer back, because most people don't have a fucking clue that he's in this. They even made him older. I think he's like 15 or 14 in this. To me, he was always like a 12 or 13.
That's what it is. Okay, so in what Robert Just the Fan's talking about, the original Shazam like that was still young, like Billy Batson, but he was like a radio presenter. You know, he was pretty much a celebrity, but he pretty much took care of himself. He was pretty much emancipated. You know what I mean? And he had this Uncle Dudley, who was like the school janitor that sussed out pretty quickly that this kid had no parental supervision, you know? Like, he basically faked his way, saying that, yeah, he had relatives that were looking after him and stuff like that. And no one, because, you know, he was well presented and stuff, no one really questioned it. And in the new iteration, they went down the path of more like, so Star Wars fans all like this, right? So here's a guy with a good heart, and horrible things have happened to him. Like we haven't seen in the trailer, but what happened in the book was he's actually been through about 3 or 4 foster families beforehand, and he's been abused. He's had horrible things happen to him, you know, where these people tend to be like the nice people, and then as soon as the doors are closed, they're absolute assholes and monsters. And he's had rich uncles come try to take what money he had left from his parents and all this sort of stuff, like absolutely horrible, horrible shit. But, you know, and he puts this brave facade on, like this rough facade, and that's where a lot of people don't like the new one, because in the old one, Billy was just this sweet, innocent kid. Like, he was pretty much Captain Marvel as a kid.
Right.
You know, with that.
What do you think about the other orphans in the house, though?
Sorry?
What do you think about the basically the new Marvel family, the
Well,
other orphans?
that's what I'm saying. That's the way it is in the Jeff Johns book at the moment and stuff like that. And it actually played. Originally, I was like, "Oh my god, we're going to get the Marvel family like really quickly here," you know. But the way they did it was really good. Like in the book, and the way that it's written, and that is fantastic. Like, you know, as I'm saying, so he's now got that darkness, that dark persona, where he's a bit of a prick. You know, like you look and you think, geez, this isn't the smiling young Billy Batson on it. But deep down, he's still a good guy. He's just created that exterior to try and protect himself. You know, because he realized that being a good guy just gets you a lot of trouble. You know, and it's like, you know, you see that scene with his foster brother that gets picked on by the bullies, and he's like, everything's telling me I should just walk away from experience, but you know what? I can't.
Right.
Like, who's going to step up for this kid? You know, it's going to have to be me. And then he gets chased by the bullies and stuff, you know, so.
I'm seeing or I'm hearing certain whispers of like, oh, I don't see the wisdom of Solomon yet. Like, I'm not seeing that in the character yet as a complaint. Also, I think, and my answer to that is that's going to be his story arc in the movie. They're going to have to figure out a way to get this guy a story arc, right? So he's going to get the powers of the gods, and then he's going to have to learn to, by the end of the movie, he's going to have the wisdom of Solomon, basically. Like, that'll be his arc run. That, to me, I think is pretty blatantly obvious.
You know what it'll be? It'll be something along the lines, Rob, where, you know, he'll come up against Savannah or something like that, and he goes, oh, wow, so your powers are based in this scientific field. And he's, whoa, how the hell did I know that?
Right.
You know, it'll be like that with the wisdom of Solomon.
Right. Yeah, it just kind of comes to him, and he's like, how that, like, really?
Yeah, how do I know that? You know?
Right. That's not a bad way to show it too. I think another problem that this movie and possibly the newest Captain Marvel movie is suffering from some of the other complaints I'm hearing, besides what Baz had said earlier. We have gone so long without having like a traditional origins movie. Like, we're used to seeing now, because of Marvel, all the heroes at once. Like, we're used to seeing the characters already established and kind of doing their thing, but we got to wind the tables back to 2008 and realize the first 4 Marvel movies, Iron Man 1, which I still think is one of the greatest movies, Thor 1, and the first Captain America, were kind of a little more on the slower side. There was a little bit more of a build-up with them. There wasn't just all this crazy shit going on and characters already being the characters. So I think, and then with DC, the problem that DC did was that they didn't do the Marvel method, so they threw everybody in the pot at once, and it got people used to seeing all this shit happening without really giving them time to kind of get to that point that everyone wants to see them at. Like someone in the chat, Rob Just a Fan, right? He was like wanting the more Shazam from the cartoon world's finest, where Luther became president. I think you're going to see that, but I don't think you're going to see that yet. Like, I think,
that Shazam from when Luther becomes president, like that's you're talking before New 52. Like, that's where he'd been Shazam for a good 10, 12 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think that, like, and it's especially since the New 52, even though we're already on to Rebirth, I think that we're going to, unfortunately, at this point, if you wheel the tables back 15 years ago, you would have gotten the characters the way we wanted them to be seen.
Yeah, the way that we grew up, yeah.
Right. But now you're going to have to realize that, like, these are, like, going to be hybrids between what you want them to be and, like, what the New 52 is, with kind of Rebirth mixed in there. So it's going to be like this stew kind of just a new version of a character.
Like, I still think, like, they haven't shown it in that, but I still think you're going to see Tawny, like Tony the Bum.
Right.
The mystical cat.
Yeah. That way, listen, man, I'm down for all that shit, man. I love that crazy.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that will probably come later in the film as he's learning more about his powers and, you know, his ability that he has to go back to the Rock of Eternity and watch over the 7 deadly sins and the entrances to all the different magical kingdoms and stuff like that, you know. So that's where his character's gone now. He's more like a protector of magic in the world.
And he eventually learns how to use spells, right?
Yes.
Oh, so this is like a perfect entranceway too for them to do like a Justice League Dark, even like 2 movies, 3 movies down the line. You get exactly. Zantana in a movie now, you know, and or Constantine, and it won't be like all of a sudden we're doing magic now. It's like, no, we already kind of dropped that seed in there a little bit, you know.
Well, that was dropped with the Suicide Squad with the Enchantress.
Enchantress, yeah.
Oh God, don't remind me of that movie. I mean, unfortunately, we're gonna have to talk about that movie too once we're done with Captain Marvel here. And I love, you know, what's funny is that that actress, that played Enchantress, she's like the hottest thing to me right now. Like I'm totally in love with her, just her look and her face, and like I don't know.
Yeah,
she just does it for me. Everyone, Scarlett Johansson, we know, yeah, she's hot too. But the chick that plays Enchantress, Cara Delevingne, she's my
I
favorite.
totally agree. I agree.
But I just want to address Robert, just a fan there with the comic book versions. Now, come on, man, Kingdom Come. Just remember Kingdom Come.
Oh, yeah.
It was going all good for Shazam until Superman got him mid-transformation at super speed and was going to rip his jaw off his face. So,
yeah.
And then there's Injustice, where
Justice was great.
Argument, and you just see Superman's eyes glow red and the holes appear in the back of his head. So, yeah, like when it comes to the crunch, Marvel won't hold a candle to Superman.
Yeah,
that's why he's the mightiest mortal.
I like that scene in not Injustice, but there's a series, a 12-part series from Alex Ross that came after Kingdom Come called Justice, and there's a scene where
that was like his Super Friends comic,
right? And there's a scene where Superman's getting jumped by all his villains, and then Captain Marvel comes in and beats them all in a flash, in a second, and just saves Superman.
Yeah, it's like Metallo, I think Parasite, and Solomon Grundy, they're all beating Superman down, and he comes in. It's just like red flashes, and he's like standing like, "Hey, what's up?" You know, Big Blue. That was cool, man. I actually love that comic.
I think a lot of people have a problem with the characterization of when Billy turns into Shazam. I think sometime around like the early '80s, they started portraying Captain Marvel as a as a kid in a man's body, as opposed to earlier he was a full-fledged adult when he transformed.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people are there's a divide.
Kind of like a confusion, like wanting to see like which one are we getting and all that other stuff. See, I kind of like the bright-eyed kid.
Already from the trailers, what they've shown us, we're getting the Jeff Johns version. We're getting the modern version of Shazam.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite Shazam moments, and just moments of Shazam, is in the I don't think it was in the episode Clash. It might have been, but when it was in the new Justice League cartoons, which are now the old Justice League cartoons, when he rolls up on the Watchtower and the Justice League convening, and he leaves, and he's like, "Yo, what are you doing? We're supposed to be superheroes.
Yeah,
like we don't act and do this."
You're right. It was that episode, a Clash after the fight with Superman, when they nearly destroyed all that housing project that Lex Luthor had built.
Right. And he's just like you know, I've had enough. Like, I'm not going to be part of your league if this is what you guys do. And that to me is like the bright-eyed wisdom of a kid, kind of like, yo, we're fucking heroes, man. Like, you know, this is, you know, and it's also a little bit of naivety too in that. And I mean, I kind of like that version of him, you know, as far as being just like, he's good, good through and through, balls to bone, you know?
George is in the chat.
Yes,
he says Captain Marvel was terrible. I totally
George,
agree.
Yeah, but George hates. Look, shout outs to the Lair. Okay, real quick, the Lair, and that's one of the sponsors for the show. This is where I got my beautiful Neo figure from, and where you should get your Neo figure from as well. So the Lair, my man George, but George hates every Marvel movie. Like he doesn't like anything. Is there a Marvel movie he's ever liked? You know, like
Robert, just the fans asking the question too. Yeah, he does have weird characters. The fat Uncle Shazam, he's gone, bro. That was the old version, and the new one is not around. And the weird worm villain is actually Mr. Mind. He's been given a very much darker origin story than the original, where he was just what they called a worm from Venus that had intelligence. Now he actually comes from. There's a mystical realm in the realm of magic that's called like the animal kingdom, you know, where the monsters and that live. Mm-hmm. And basically that's where he comes from, where he's like a lowly worm in that reality, but if he escapes that reality, he's got powers beyond anything on our world, you know. So
See, that's good because in this way you tie Shazam more into the magic kind of stuff, and you separate him from Superman.
Exactly.
So people won't just say, "Oh, he's just another Superman knockoff."
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing him and Superman on the screen at the same time. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do now as far as keeping this universe united when Ben Affleck's not even playing Batman anymore. And who knows what the hell is going to happen with Cavill. They're saying they're getting away from Batman and Superman a little bit, probably until they figure out what the hell they're going to do. If they're going to do anything, they got a Flashpoint.
Before the Affleck thing, they already said that about Cavill because, everyone was, when's Man of Steel 2 coming? When's Man of Steel 2 coming? When's Man of Steel 2 coming? And they said, listen, there is no Man of Steel 2. Like, Superman's the main thing in the Justice League. No, well, they're going more for the team movies and also that Superman appears. You know what I mean? Like, so, for example, what you're going to see a lot more of is, like, in this Shazam movie, I guarantee there's going to be TV footage that they're watching or something of Superman in action.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And stuff like that. So, and then apparently Superman appears at the end of the movie.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's cool. I'm sure you're not going to see Cavill's face, though. It'll probably be like just his chest or some bullshit.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Cavill's actually being contracted for the next 7 movies. That's from his agent.
Well, that's great. Hopefully they make him. I liked him at the.
But they did what the agent did say, that none of them are a movie where he's the star. Like they're bit roles as Superman in upcoming DC films.
Oh, so he's going to be like the Nick Fury, basically. Like,
pretty much, yeah. Like put it this way. So there's a new hero movie or whatever, and that he's the one that I've got an offer, and it's got the Justice League symbol. You know what I mean?
Okay, right.
Like, we'd like you to come and join the team, stuff like that.
That's cool. It's going to give them a chance for DC to develop characters that, like, even I'm not that familiar with. Like, I never really liked Doom Patrol growing up, but I think the show is freaking awesome.
Yeah, isn't that the most unique show you've seen, man?
That's what I love about it. I love the look of it, the olden style. Like, I think that, like, the cinematography or the way, like, the filters they're using, the music they're using, it's just so, like, new. Like, something just, it feels like fresh, And that's what I'm loving about it.
What do you think of Cyborg? I love, like, how he has it all together. He's like the leader of the team, leading a bunch of misfits.
Well, he won't be there for long. The next season, he's going to be appearing in Titan. So,
but that's cool though, because that makes the characters able to do the same shit that they've been doing on the CW.
Here's the thing. That's why they're shutting down a lot of these CW shows, because they're bringing it all over to the DC stream. So CW is a different division in Warner Brothers to the DC film and TV division that they've set up.
Right.
They're established. They've been running for years. They've got their own way of doing things. It's aimed at a younger teenage audience. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, in that regard, this one isn't. This is aimed at adults. They're not trying to hook in kids.
The one thing that kind of upset me this past week, they announced that, and I haven't even watched the last 2 seasons of it, that Arrow is going to be coming to a close. They're doing season 8. They're closing it with 10 episodes, which I think that all these shows should be no more than like 12, 13 episodes. I'd rather have 12, 13, because in an entire season of Arrow, Arrow's my favorite show.
Canceled after season 2, but yeah.
I think that out of all these shows, Arrow's my favorite, and there's 22 to 24 episode runs where you have like 12 really good episodes and then 12 filler episodes. Not cool, man. Just give me 12 awesome fucking episodes and be done with it. So I think that kind of hurts. Like, I don't want to have to sit and watch The Flash and go, this week's, like, I spent like an hour and it's like kind of whack. Like, I guess not every show is going to be awesome all the time. But then the following week when King Shark's on, I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. Kirill Grad's on. I'm like, oh, this is great. They need to just trim these shows down. But I kind of, though, want them to last forever. Some part of me doesn't want, I feel like, it's like another part of me like, oh, it's time to move on. And I guess now the fact that the DC streaming service is taken off gives me that, like, that nice little train to jump on, to just continue my DC TV kind of happiness, so to speak.
Well, the first 2 seasons of Arrow were excellent. And it gave birth to an entire universe on television. There was a whole week put aside for DC TV on the CW. You know, every day it seemed you had a DC show to watch. It spawned the Flash, which is, I think, the Flash's first season is one of the best first seasons of any show that I've seen. Supergirl, which is a bit of a disappointment because it gets into too much. It gets into politics a little too much.
Yeah.
But I thought her casting was great. She looks great.
And the special effects on that show are freaking awesome. Like, yo, they're actually like when her and Superman were on that one episode, and they were flying around through buildings and stuff. I was like, yo, this is television. Like, this is insane. You know, but then she opens her mouth and I go,
they did crossovers. You know?
And don't forget the blue heat vision.
What? She's not supposed to have blue heat vision, or is that accurate?
When have you ever seen a Kryptonian with blue heat vision?
I don't know. Well, that's not that doesn't really bother me that much, but
it does me. Does me.
But I mean that crossover they did was it 2 years ago was better than the Justice League movie, the Earth X.
Started on that. There were so many problems with that one, man. I was one of these guys. I got very excited when they were doing the Earth X crossover, and then they just screwed the pooch.
Yeah, I don't like. Again, I've heard the last two seasons of Arrow were more like the first season, where it was more like
Earth X. Okay, so I thought finally we're going to see Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters. Who were the heroes of that world, led by their Firestorm and Uncle Sam. You know, we were going to see Emperor Superman. You know, Zephyra Superman. Sorry, you know, the leader of the Reich. No, didn't get to see that. Supergirl in that reality did not exist. They actually had Superwoman instead, and they created a Kryptonian clone so Superman would have a partner. Because they wanted to create, like, continue his lineage and all that sort of stuff. There was so many missed opportunities. But that's the thing with the CW. They're actually hamstrung by what they can do. They've got limitations on everything. Can't mention Batman. Can't mention this, can't mention that, you know?
It's absolutely ridiculous. And when they first started, there wasn't that problem. You had Suicide Squad on in the second season of Arrow. That's why that second season of Arrow is friggin' like gold. You got Deathstroke going crazy the whole time. And then they let him come back for a little bit, and then they were like, "Nah, you can't use him again because we're going with the movie." I don't get that, man. Just you're a multiverse. Just
that's exactly why they've given Johns control now, and that's what he's saying. Like, these TV shows will exist in a different universe than what the movies will.
Yeah,
one is Earth 1, one is Earth 2, or you know.
And they're notorious for that, so that doesn't bother me that much. It's the same reason that me and
talk that the next Superman film is going to be the Black Superman, where he's actually the president of the United States from Earth 3.
Oh, okay, cool.
You know, so
I have a question for you guys, right? Now, when we talk the DC multiverse, we're like, yeah, that's fine. That's great. Different multiverses. Because we're all DC guys here, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's an argument I get into with the guy from The Lair, George, from time to time, because he hates the Marvel movies. And because he's like, oh, they're not like the comics. You should just do the comics, right? So my answer to that is it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, dude. It's just a different universe, man. You got the comic universe. You got 616. You got the Ultimate Universe. You got the MCU. And it doesn't click with him. He's like, no, fuck that. It should just be the way it is. So I want to ask you guys, does it bother you that they change things in Marvel movies? And if so, why does it bother you? Because it doesn't bother you when they do it with DC, because with DC, we can accept that it's just another universe.
You bring up a valid point there. But, I mean, I think with the Marvel ones, it wasn't so much that – we get a different reality, okay, where there's usually a key thing that's changed. But a lot of the – like, for example – in all the ones where there's an alternate Superman, he's still crash landed on a rocket from Krypton. You know what I mean? Bar one.
Right.
Where he was an advanced human sent back from our future, right?
Right.
Every other time, he's that part's still true. There's certain things that need to stay true. So, like, for example, Baron Zemo that we mentioned before in the Age of Ultron movie, you know? In Civil War. Well, where was he suddenly, a special forces colonel of a shit-kicker nation in the middle of nowhere, instead of, you know, that his father was a great Nazi scientist and he's following in his father's footsteps and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
He's one of Captain America's, like, top 5 villains at least.
You know, and another golden opportunity that was missed.
Yeah.
And this story was done in the comics. So that guy that infiltrated, like Robert Redford's character that infiltrates S.H.I.E.L.D. and brings it all down from within, you know, and gets Hydra to infiltrate. How cool would it have been at the end scene when he rips off the mask and it's actually Red Skull underneath?
Yeah.
You know, now Red Skull did that in the comics. He became a U.S. senator. He remained hidden as a U.S. senator for like 50 years, building up divisions in the government that were acting against superheroes in case they turned on us. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So
I'm interested to see what they do with Red Skull in Endgame.
Oh, yeah, I don't think you're going to see him. I think that was just kind of thrown in there for...
I think it was just an explanation of what happened to him.
Yeah. Well, Baz, come on, give us an answer, man. How do you feel about that? Like when they change things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe versus DC and the multiverse and all that?
Dude, when Civil War came out, that's all I did was bitch about was Zemo. So
Right.
you remember? I always brought that up.
Does that bother you? It bothers you when Marvel does it, but not when DC does?
No, I think just Marvel comes close enough. They come just close enough. They change just enough because I mean it's a different medium. I mean it's just so much story that you could fit into a 2-hour movie as opposed to a monthly comic book. You know,
so it's all right for you when they do that.
And for example, like I'm sure with Bad, you get pissed off.
Yeah.
You get pissed off too with some of the things that they do in the CW. You know what I mean? You go, what the? You know, like
okay. One thing I got pissed off with the CW is Mr. Terrific. I mean, he's one of the most badass characters in the JSA run.
Yeah,
married guy loses his wife. His whole character arc in that is he lost his wife, and he's a man of science, so he doesn't believe in the afterlife or anything. He's not a spiritual man at all, and so he's always pining after his wife and having that struggle. And so they turned him into just like some goofy. Gay guy who pals around with Felicity.
Right.
You know, it's just, come on, man.
And that's what I'm saying. So at least in that, we've been explained that you get the multiversity omnibus. It's not an omnibus, sorry. The multiversity guide to the multiversity called Multiversity by Grant Morrison.
Right.
And that's the Bible.
Oh yeah.
Bible when it comes to what world's what, and they're rock solid rules. Like that's what they actually have on display with the DC writers to go, hey man, anything within this you can work with. If you fuck with this, it's not going to be accepted.
There's only very few things to answer my own question that bother me when they mess with any type of, because I had a problem with the Spider-Verse stuff. I was like, oh, now all of a sudden they're doing it with Spider-Man, and now Marvel's doing what DC does. And I was like, no, you know what? I love the Ultimates, so I'm cool with the multiverse stuff, right? The only thing that kind of bothers me is that I think there should just be certain things that are just constants. Like Captain America should never be Hydra. That pissed me off.
Oh, like that pissed me off.
Like in every multiverse, you can change the character in a million different ways, but he's never against America. Period. Like in my own personal headcanon. And Batman, I'm sorry, should just never kill. That pisses me off too a little bit. Except for when Michael Keaton does it. I don't know why.
Insane that. No, but insane. Like, I have that argument with Batman fans all the time. I don't like the Batman movies because you see him killing and I'm like, have you read the comics?
Well, yeah, like look, he's punching people all the time, dying, obviously.
The only thing is, Batman's not going to walk up with a gun to an enemy that's defeated, point it at their head, and go bang.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's where he draws the line. He doesn't perform cold-blooded murder.
Yeah, it's like executions. He's not an executioner.
Yeah, he's not up for executions. Like if there's a way to take the person down without killing them, he'll take that option. But if they if they're in the way of stopping where he can save 10,000 lives or something like that, he's gonna take him out as quick as possible.
Yeah,
like you tell me a bloke with a batarang lodged into his bloody aorta and stuff like that's going to be okay? No, of course he's bloody not.
Oh yeah, no, totally. One issue that I had with Batman versus Superman is when he's in the which is an awesome scene. He's in the Batmobile and he's just firing on people with these turrets, and then he's picking up cars and launching them at other cars, and it's like, yo, dude, like you're the fucking Punisher at this point right now in that one scene.
Look, that I'll give you. I think in that they went a little bit over the top.
That was crazy. See, that's why one thing that has me looking forward to this new Matt Reeves Batman is that they keep building it up like it's going to be some kind of like crime noir where it's going to like have a lot of internal Batman dialogue, which I've been hankering for that for the longest. I love it in the Dark Knight not in Dark Knight Returns. I think it was in the Dark Knight Returns when he says rubber bullets. I promise. You know, and he has like that kind of like half smile where it's like, yo, dude, you're firing on people, but he's like, nah, but I'm really not though. But you know what's going on, you know, wink, wink.
Oh, when he's on the horse with the rifle, yeah.
Rob Just Fan says Flashpoint Batman has a gun, but it's Thomas Wayne, and the Batman Who Laughs has Batman with a gun. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the Batman metal yet. I'm waiting.
The Batman Who Laughs. You're talking about the Grim Knight. The Grim Knight is so in that he's from another world in the dark multiverse, and it was a world where when the guy pulled the gun, his father went to got into the fight. Like his father and mother lived, right? But and knocked the gun to the ground, Bruce picked up the gun and shot the guy.
Ah, okay.
And that began his obsession with guns. So the Grim Knight is like just like our Batman, but he loves using guns and explosives and weaponry and traps and stuff like that.
Well, I guess that kind of makes, all right, that makes sense. So I'm maybe I'm just talking shit here and using a lot of like my own personal conjecture and stuff, but that kind of does that's I'll allow it.
There's two versions of the Thomas Wayne Batman. You have Flashpoint, but there's also an Earth 2 version.
Yes,
there was the New 52 had a series called
How
Earth
good
2.
Was that story?
It was great, and in that Thomas Wayne version actually used Our Man's Miraclo pill, so he had super strength for an hour.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's freaking cool.
Yeah, and in that one, well, basically the big difference between the origin was so Bruce thinks the same, that both his parents were killed on that night. It turns out that the guy was sent because Thomas Wayne was giving evidence against one of his mobster mates that he'd been partying and going to orgies and all this sort of stuff with, and then he wouldn't cover for him for a certain thing, and the guy had him knocked, and they didn't kill him, they killed like his wife, and he went into protective custody.
Wow.
Yeah, and then years later, like, Batman uncovers what his father was really up to, like with the money embezzlement and helping out the mob and stuff like that, and that he was actually alive. And yeah, when he tracks him down, it was sort of very cold and you are dead to me, like don't come near me. And in that one, he was married with Selena Kyle, and they had their daughter, the Huntress.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the original. Oh, the original Huntress was also Selena Kyle.
Yeah.
From before Crisis.
Yes. Before she became Helena Bertinelli, yeah.
Which version do you prefer?
Bertinelli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better costume.
Yeah, I got the Bertinelli one.
Oh my god, yeah, it's beautiful, that one. It's a sideshow, right? Premium?
Yeah, yeah.
Before we switch gears, guys, Rob Just a Fan's asking, what's up with the 3 Jokers? Have they solved that yet, or is that still waiting in the wings?
I don't know. I think that's still waiting in the wings. Like they're still trying to finish up Doomsday Clock, which I read the latest issue today, which was friggin' outrageous.
Dude, me too, man. I put it this way: I had that many people because I talk about it all the time, going, "Tell me more about it. Tell me more about it." Because I haven't read it, and that. So I actually had to do a video on the first 8 episodes of the book, you know, to give people a walkthrough to catch up now to be able to read issue 9, 10, 11, and 12. And man, it took me. It was about a 30-minute video. On just because there was so much to go through, like, you know, the characters, Marionette and the Mime, and, you know, their backstories, basically what happened from the Watchmen universe to
I'm waiting on the trade before I get into any of that stuff because I can't do singles. I got to wait on the trade for that shit.
That's what I'm finding. Most people are like that, Baz. Like, people are like, yeah, I'm going to wait for the graphic novel and just get the graphic novel or something, you know, and I'm like, dude, I can't wait. Like, as soon as I see it's out, bang.
That's the Netflix mentality. That's the Netflix binge watch mentality. I got to be able to have the trade and go right through it, you know.
Basically, this issue, like the entire DC universe, heads to Mars to confront Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing.
But see, like, this major spoiler here. Do you think it's all him or not? I think he's been getting his strings pulled by someone too.
Oh, Dr. Manhattan?
Yeah. I mean, we know he moved the lantern to prevent the JSA coming about and Alan Scott becoming the Lantern. That's made the big changes in...
That changed everything.
Yeah.
He said that he moved the lantern from Alan Scott 6 inches.
Yeah.
And then
6 inches out of his reach, so he never became the Green Lantern and formed the JSA.
Wow. All right, now you guys, enough. Because you guys are going to make me go out and have to start buying this shit. I got to still wait a couple of months before we can get into this.
Dude, get comics.info. Just download the bastards.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting, man. You got to send me, like, I got to remember comics.info.
I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link to read comics online.
All right, cool. All right, we James Belk asks, how about them toys, though? So I'm going to switch
sorry, Robert, just a fan just asked, isn't Alan Scott gay? That is in the Earth 2, like the one that we were talking about where the Batman is Thomas Wayne, not Flashpoint, Earth 2. So if you want to, it's actually a really good story arc. I'll give you a spoiler straight off the bat, but in the first episode, the Justice League on this world only consists of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and they all die trying to save the world from Darkseid's invasion in the first 3-4 pages.
Nice. And then that's what the Earth 2, they have like
the new heroes, the new Flash, the new Green Lantern, all these dudes start popping up.
All right, yeah, no. All right, Sleeping Giant. Yo, thanks for joining, man. You're the man, bro. Thanks for watching. He's got a okay.
Actually, here's the Jay Garrick Earth.
Yeah, there you go. That's from now, was that New 52?
Yeah,
it's Earth 2.
Earth
2, but from the New 52 style, though, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I remember seeing that briefly. I never got into the new. I had a little bit in the New 52 stuff, but not too much. I'm just loving Rebirth because I like the return of the more classic characters, or classic versions, I should say. All right, real quick, guys. We have some stuff we're going to show you guys that's coming out this week, and we're going to talk about some toys and stuff like that. But first, I got this figure about 2 weeks ago. It's the Red Cup Review's most famous video of all time because it got the most views, it got the most likes, it got the most everything. I reviewed this Mezco Jason figure, okay? And it's pretty awesome. So if you guys want to go see that review, it's getting like crazy hype for us, all things considered, because, you know, the channel is still in its infancy stage. But I'm actually in that video, I'm doing a giveaway. And what am I giving away? I'm giving away this thing right here, an unopened Mezco Catwoman, still with the tape on it, not even opened at all in any way, shape, or form. So this is the variant purple Mezco Catwoman version. So go and check out this figure review and enter this because only 6 people entered the contest out of 2,000. So apparently I might have made the contest like a little bit too hard for people to enter and stuff, but I want to give this damn thing away. And the contest ends on Tuesday. We announce the winner, or even if there's going to be a winner. There's only 6 entries so far, so go watch the review. Look, the axe even sticks in his head, just like at the end of Friday the 13th part 3. And you watch this review, and then you can enter to win this unopened Catwoman right here. All right,
Catwoman's awesome.
Yeah, she's cool as hell, man. I personally like the black version better, but this figure is actually a better figure because her joints aren't as stiff, and they're actually it's just a better made as far as like things breaking and stuff like that. You should have nothing to worry about when it comes to this this Catwoman figure right here.
Well, see, I prefer the purple because I like the original versions of characters, and that was her first. You know, her purple was her first, primary color of her outfit.
Right. Yeah. No, the figure's great. I mean, I got both in the collection. I got and I'm giving one away because I got a few extra from Mezco. So there you go. This isn't mine. This is a brand new one. Also, I just got this. I literally just opened this before we went live. This is the Hot Toys Neo figure. And here, let me take his glasses off so you guys can take a look at the likeness. You know. It's excellent. The joints were all tight. He comes with a gazillion different guns, and he's got a wire in his coat there. and he could put all the guns on his waist and hips and all that and other nonsense. I just wanted to kind of get him out for the show, just to get him on the table. So he's out. You can try to get him from the lair, the lair.nyc, or you guys can go to Collector Zone Cantina on Facebook. If you guys aren't joined into that Collector Zone page, you guys should go and join there shortly, because they're just a cool, fun page. And you guys can post up your own collections, even if you're not interested in buying anything. Just like go in there and talk shit with everybody, and I frequent that page as well. All right. As far as things we want to look at and show off, I want to get a couple comments. I know this isn't necessarily totally in your wheelhouse, Mr. Jason, but we're not too much with the statues here. Just periodically
cool,
and sometimes.
You collect what you collect.
Exactly. All right. Here's something that was announced just about 2 weeks ago or so, but I'm gonna have to lower this and lower this so I can flip through this stuff right here. Here's the Mezco Captain Marvel figure that just went up for pre-order, and we're gonna get a close up on her face.
I said she's got the same disinterested face that the actual actress has got.
Yeah, exactly. She looks just as happy as she does in the movie. She comes with 3 different heads. One of them glows. I mean, this figure looks cool. The problem I have with it, though, if I had to just say, I'm not pre-ordering this. I'm not going to have this actress in my collection. But if you could see over here where her arm meets the shoulder area, there's actually the inside of the arm and the inside of the arm, the side of her body here is made of material, but this is more like that faux leather. So as you pose her arms up in like that upward fly position, or have them, you can see it's pinching. So to me, that spells bad news. You can see over here how it's kind of like ruffled up because of the faux leather. Well, it's just, to me, that has like rip and break and crack written all over it. Even though she, the figure looks really cool. It's bright. It's colorful. It's a lot of Photoshop. But I like the jacket. The jacket's cool. Here's basically what she comes with. She has the glowing head that has like the glow effect, the regular one from the movie, I guess, with the mohawk, and then her disinterested face and her cat Goose. So there's that figure.
There's not one face with her smiling or with any emotion at all, eh?
Nah, it's like, why be emotionless why be full of emotion? We can be emotionless and stoic. It's like, you got to be fucking Charleston Heston to pull that shit off, fellas. So I don't know. This is just a new figure that's coming out for everybody to check out. I'm not necessarily this is not a Mezco I will be reviewing. Anybody have any comments? Baz, I know you ain't getting this shit.
Well, that whole thing about how people always say, that it's misogynist to ask a woman to smile. They were saying that about Henry Cavill and Superman.
Yeah. Too serious, too dark. Where's the laughter? Where's the smiles?
Yeah, and all the Marvel heroes smile. Look at Thor and Cap, and it's just
Thor's laughing and carrying on while his planet's being destroyed.
That's what heroes do, actually. So it really has nothing. I mean, Schwarzenegger doesn't smile, but he plays a robot. So
yeah,
whatever.
Here is are you guys catching this?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Here now we have something that's a little bit more in the wheelhouse for me. Again, I'm not ordering this as well because I stick to more Hot Toys type stuff. But here's a look at what Sideshow's doing with their Red Skull figure that they got coming out. I think it looks pretty good. You could bet your ass that the final production versions are going to look nothing like this. But this looks cool.
Bro, they stung me once with that Superman 6 scale that I thought, oh, man, it's going to look like Christopher Reeve. And nah, man, it's shit. Just avoid their 6 scales. Unless it's Hot Toys, go home.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's the Superman Hot Toys, Christopher Reeve, and the Henry Cavill. Hot Toys is just Hot Toys is Hot Toys. It's a completely different animal and beast altogether. It comes with an alternate portrait, and it's some MC Hammer pants. I never knew he had he left the donuts because his thighs look like
aren't they
like this guy does fucking squats, He
didn't skip leg day.
He definitely didn't skip leg day, but he's got I guess this is like more of their MCU face kind of. I personally like the other face. I like the Red Skull with the teeth showing. He's got his little Red Skull cane and like an unsheathable like little knife there. He comes with a gun too.
But
Again,
just
the pants look fucking goofy on this god. Look at this.
Rob, just think about it this way. Put your hands on your own face and feel where your eye sockets are. And does that match that sculpt in any way, shape, or form?
I'll tell you what. These fucking thighs look laughably bad. I think everything about this looks really freaking cool, and then just those thighs look like just funny, and it just kind of throws the whole thing off to me. I don't know. I guess
look, it actually was a military style, right? But that sort of like went out of fashion in like 1918. So I haven't seen any pictures of German Nazis or military officers in World War II with the jodhpurs flared out like that.
Yeah, that's almost like he's got like fucking Marilyn Monroe standing over a grate with the fucking wind blowing through his pants type thing going on there.
Wait a minute, is he smiling?
It's not smiling. Is he smiling? Red Skull smiles.
Even the Red Skull smiles.
The fucking Red Skull could smile.
Unbelievable.
But hard to smile without a face.
So he's got the I'm trying to find the picture where he's got everything. With all his there he goes. I mean, the figure is $235. I still think it's way overpriced. This is like $190 figure. He comes with
You'll get it on the resale market for $50 in about 6 months' time.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't buy this for full price. Most sideshow figures you can guarantee are going to be on some kind of like sideshow sale. Like if you can't get them in a Facebook group for less from somebody that maybe like bought them just to review and then get rid of, you'll probably be able to find him on their Spooktacular. Every year at Spooktacular they do a nice sale, and I could bet your ass this is going to be going on sale as well.
Yeah.
So that's it. There's your Red Skull.
There's your future giveaway.
Yeah. Look, and it doesn't really look that bad at all. It's just I know that the production pieces aren't going to look this good. The actual production pieces aren't going to look this good. But I'll tell you, the last Batman figure that they came out with, their comic book Batman, actually does look really nice in person. So maybe I'm just sitting here making fun of it for the sake of comedy reasons, and they actually continue to improve. Here's to hoping, I guess, And Baz, any comments about MC Skull Pants over here?
All I'm saying, he smiles.
That's all you say.
He smiles. I don't know. I don't really care for the character.
And last but not least, you have Sulu reveal from QMX, and he actually looks pretty good. I think he looks pretty good. Especially since it's not Hot Toys, Hot Toys competitor.
Listen, you cannot have these types of characters without the other guys. So,
here's
the problem.
Example. Bam, right there. That looks kind of cool. If you were able to get a setup where you had the three of them together with Kirk maybe leaning over his shoulder or something. The Kirk and Spock are long sold out now. You guys might be able to get them on eBay or something like that. But they have Sulu's like their new figure for now, which they should have showed at Toy Fair and they never did. And they're going to be showing Uhura.
Does he have a sword?
I don't think he comes with a sword, which he probably should. I don't know. Let's take a look. There's no more pictures. Wow, QMX has really been dropping the ball lately with the stuff they're showing off. It looks like he's just coming with a phaser and a flip phone.
He's got a medical tricorder too.
Yeah, he's got the medical tricorder. He should come with the which, and I'll tell you, what's cool about the Star Trek figure, the QMX figures, is that they're not as high as Hot Toys. Like they don't. It's funny to me. They don't charge what Hot Toys charges, and they don't charge what Sideshow charges. And to me, it's funny that Sideshow turns around and they charge the Hot Toys prices, and then you have a company like QMX that comes along and their figures will be like $189. which is still kind of on the high end, but not really. It's actually quite appropriate for like 5 years ago. Nowadays, shit is just that's it. We're in an age now where, like Jason, you can tell us like that the premium formats now are $150 more than they were just 3 years ago, which is just insane to me.
They were than 6 months ago, and then what they do is they slap the word Marquette on something and throw an extra $300 on it.
That to me, that just makes no sense to me at all. Like I saw, because I was almost gonna buy the Wonder Woman with the spear, and that was gonna be like my one statue because I'm not a statue guy. And when she first came out, I think she was $350, and then when she went back into production, she was like $450 or like 400 and something. And I was like, yo, what the hell? Like, you already have the mold. Like, where do you get off charging that much more? You know,
for a re-release.
For a re-release, exactly. like what? You know. So if you're into the Star Trek type stuff, I seen this stuff in person at Toy Fair. It's actually pretty damn cool, especially if you just wanted to get like Kirk with the captain's chair. Good luck finding Kirk. The captain's chair comes out soon. I was thinking about getting it myself, but every time I think about like how awesome all these things look awesome, and I got to pull myself back from the ledge because I'm not that big of a Star Trek fan. Even though it'd be awesome to have a Kirk and Spock in your collection, I gotta kind of just like. I'm watching, Jason, what you're doing with the Marvel stuff where you're just going DC and kind of trying to focus on the Prime 1 stuff now. You got to you'll have just a house full of shit at one point.
Yeah. And scattered, and you'll get like nearly entire collections of something with one missing because you go, I'm not paying $1,200 for that last piece in the set, you know, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
It's crazy. I even want to get into the QMX's Princess Bride stuff. I love the Princess Bride movie. But then I'm going to sit and look at my collection and go, my collection is pretty much Star Wars behind me and some specialty Hollywood figure characters that I personally just like. Like I got the Lord of the Rings here. It's like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Indiana Jones, and you know, and then like favorite characters from like old movies that I just happen to really love, you know, like with Ash and the Kurt Russell's back here. And then I'm going to get into Princess Bride, and then I'm going to have to trim my Star Wars collection down a little bit just to have for Princess Bride characters. And it's like, look, I'm not going to sell, you know, my episode 4 characters to get the Princess Bride in there to fit in the cabinets. And I'm not getting any more cabinets. I'm not the type of guy that's like, fuck it, I'll just get more. I'll just buy, you know, time to buy more stuff. I look at some of these people's collections and I'm like, yo, man, like you have a room in your house. Like, look, your room, I know I'm a little all over the place here, but your room, Jason, is like you go live from that room. You have your computer, right? You have a reason to be in there and enjoy your shit. So it's a functioning room. It's not just a closet you walk into, right? You do your reviews from that room. I just see a lot of these people that have like these super museum style rooms, and they're like, look what I did with my room in my house. And I'm like, you took your 3rd bedroom and turned it into a museum spot, which is cool, but you're not going to ever go in there. Well, you go in there and just walk around and leave?
The only time you go in there is, do you want to see my statues? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the only time you're ever going to go in there. Like for me, I have the 6D tops right now. I'm really debating on getting the going custom, like you had mentioned before. I'm really considering that. And this is it.
Good walls, bro. If you got good walls, you're set.
You know, but I have my, like right here, this is my television on top of my fireplace. So I sit on my couch right there and I watch the TV and I get to enjoy my collection and my periphery vision. Over here, I have like my movie posters framed nice. And on the other side, I have my comic art and original art from comic stuff framed up nice. And walking down the stairs to get into the cave is like my CGC comics framed. I have my framed CGC stuff going down. So I'm always seeing this stuff because I'm always down here watching TV and enjoying it. And I get to go live in this area. So to me, it's more like having a functioning room and a reason to be in there and enjoy your stuff as opposed to just otherwise it's just a giant fucking closet. And instead of things being in boxes, they're just on expensive shelves.
Yeah, like, you know, this is like my room where I've got like, you know, the traditional Bestas and stuff like that, and I've got like the glass display cabinets and stuff like that over here. Got my own fridge in here, and this is where I do my. Yeah, well, it's basically where I do my work. I work sometimes from home as well on my computer and stuff. So it's all basically around whenever I relax, I just spin around and soak it all in.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you a reason to be in there, and you're able to actually see and enjoy all of it.
Yeah.
You know? That's the type of collector I am. I'm not the type of collector that collects and just puts stuff in a closet.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got a collection. Like, I don't need to collect every mezco figure. I do a lot of the mezco stuff because I review it. And it really, that's like the oil to the Red Cup review engine, is because they're not that expensive and they come in periodically, and it gives me something to keep the channel fresh.
Yeah.
And I do keep some of them. Some of them I do really enjoy and I like to have. But I'm not just going to have them, put them in a box and save them. If I wanted to do that, I'll just invest in the damn stock market. You know what I'm saying? If I want to just have that stuff to save.
Like the Marvel ones that I'm getting, I've had them all for over a year each. You know what I mean? And it's just got to the point where I'm like, yeah, there's more DC ones I want coming out this year. And I'm like, A, I'm going to need the room, you know, and B, the cash that I'm going to get from them is going to help me buy the other ones that I need to get. So,
yeah. Exactly. No, I totally understand.
I'm really hooked on these Prime ones, man. Now, like they're just next level.
Jason recently put up a picture that had the Prime 1 Green Lantern. You had the original Sideshow Green Lantern premium format and the newer one. And I know Baz also commented on this as far as like what people thought were like the best. Like you were like, hey, which ones do you think are the best? To me, I know I wrote it on the comment. It's the Green Lantern with the fist, you know, the original. Just because that's so Green Lantern, you know, having
that. I'm going to put it this way. After now that I've got all three, I'm selling the other two and I'm keeping the Prime 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Why you just like because the Prime 1 statues are just, you want to have like more of a uniform look to it?
Like, when you see it in person and up close, the attention to the details just done so much better. Like the only thing that would make it better, in my opinion, is if the lantern and the ring construct lit up, and that'd be the only things that would make it better.
Right. Yeah.
But other than that, I've got no suggestions. Like when I was putting it together, I thought, oh, this laid back style, the pose and that, like what the hell. But then when you put it together, you're like, oh, it makes perfect sense, you know. And it's one of them ones that like the Cyborg is easy. Like you just take a picture of that and people go, oh man, that's impressive and that. But the Green Lantern, everyone says, you know, I don't get the construct. It looks smaller in scale. Like I had people comparing headshots, you know, from the Prime 1 to the new. But here's the thing: if you get the head from the one you guys like with the fist, they're exactly the same size. It's only that new modern one that is actually bigger. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. That's cool.
And that was only to keep him in line because they made and here's the thing. He's actually a lot bigger than Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman because their bases are a lot higher, but he's at the same height as them.
Right. Okay. So I see that.
If anything, the modern Green Lantern is actually overscale.
Right. Right. Yeah. Now you want your stuff to kind of be a little bit, you know, a little bit more uniform and stuff like that too. I get that totally.
Hey, what do you think of the Iron Studio stuff?
Dude, love it. Absolutely. Like their dioramas, I think they're absolutely fantastic.
Iron Studios, is that the one that did
Studios? Yeah,
they did the is that the one that did the Batman versus Killer Croc?
No, I think that was DC Collectibles.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
go ahead. Continue.
No, they did. Their dioramas are more 6 scale. So you got the Superman v Doomsday and the Batman versus Bane ones. They're about this big.
Wow.
There's a Deathstroke.
So Batman v Bane is the same height as Bane premium format, and the Superman one's a bit shorter because they're both sort of crouched in the fight, like they're both crouched and punching.
Nice. Baz, you were saying something about Deathstroke?
Oh yeah, there's a Deathstroke. It's like him kind of like jumping. He's in the action pose from Iron Studios. I mean, it looks like it leapt off the comic page, drawn by George Perez. I was wondering if you ever seen that one.
No, I haven't seen that one. I've got the Sideshow one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that Baz, the one you're talking about? He has like the sword kind of like behind him like this, like he's ready to swing it. Exactly, I just saw that one today. Yeah.
How great does that look?
Yeah, it does. It looks freaking fantastic.
It looks like Perez drew him.
Yeah.
But one statue I've been looking for that I can't find anywhere. I'm dying to get is the Parallax versus Green Lantern statue, where you have the Parallax monster. Yeah, what have you seen it anywhere?
Dude, you know why it's hard to get? Because a lot of them broke, man.
Oh, okay.
It's really fragile, and the DC collectibles with their diorama, their packaging's pretty crap. Like if you're looking like Sideshow and Prime One and XM and all that sort of stuff, and the way they package their stuff, DC it's just a foam box, slap it in, tape it up in the box. So a sharp kick or something like that from the. And we've seen how the dudes handle the smaller packages, across the room and stuff like that. So. Yeah, you're destined to get like most that Killer Croc versus Batman diorama. Most of them were broken. Like either Batman's arm was broken or Killer Croc's lower arm was broken. So and the Superman versus Darkseid in the same set. So many people I know got snapped Superman capes.
That was the same company that did the Superman fighting Wonder Woman, right? Where she has like her knee in the chest. That was a dynamite looking fucking piece, and all I saw was that the mad of them were broken, man.
Yeah, well, look, I've actually got it, and I had to get it repaired because there was some pieces broken on it. So
there you go. That's a great piece.
Yeah, when I got it, essentially the whole thing's connected by her foot in his chest.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that pretty much like warped and ripped out the hole. So I just sent him away to be repainted and fixed up and stuff like that. And then when we sent it back, the arm here snapped on Wonder Woman.
Wow.
So like even transporting it for painting, and that was sort of like an absolute nightmare.
That's a dynamite. When I saw that, I was like, damn, that's awesome. And then obviously it was like, they were all, a lot of them were coming busted and stuff. So yeah, it's a shame. Especially if they're doing like a limited run, like let's say the run is 1,000 or like 500, and then like 200 of them are broken. It's like,
yeah, and these ones came with the little certificates of authenticity because that was the first run. A lot of them they re-release. You know what I mean? So the second and third runs are never as pricey as the first runs because the first ones come with them certificates of authenticity and stuff like that as well, where the later ones don't.
Very cool.
Another statue I want to bring up that I saw that I can't find anywhere that I fell in love with was the Superman Returns statue when he saves the plane. It's from Weta. Have you ever seen that one?
I have. I've seen a few of the Weta ones. There is a bloke locally that's selling them all off. I think he wants like 150 Australian for each one or something like that.
How much is that in American?
In American, you're probably looking about 125, 110.
Yeah, wow.
Baz, I know we're switching gears a little bit again, but we've been going pretty long, and I want to I want to finish up what we have in here. Idris Elba's playing fucking Deadshot now. What do you think?
Yep,
awesome.
It's like the one time where they recast it, and we were like, "Yes, a recasting."
I mean, I still think that he should be white, but that's just me. Like that because that's what he is,
right?
Like there's plenty of. I thought if they wanted to have a black character, they could have put Black Manta or Black Spider in there. Both of them have been part of
Bronze Tiger. Bronze Tiger would have been perfect.
Yeah, or Bronze Tiger. Yeah.
Yeah. But Will Smith is just so great. I was just like, all right, fine, Deadshot. His real identity has never really been a big deal. He's always behind the mask. I don't unless
that's arguable. That like if you look in the comics and that, there's a lot of where you see Floyd Lawton, and that's what got me. Floyd Lawton was like a suave, white dude that looked like he was a millionaire, but you knew he wasn't. But he could
Scottish guy or something. English
guy.
Yeah,
he's got like the little mo, with the little thing like that, and he's just like he's just got that wicked smirk,
I think that Idris Elba can pretty much pull off just about anything.
Idris Elba can play anybody. He's a fantastic actor.
And I kind of wish he was maybe doing the Jon Stewart thing instead, but look, man, I'll take it. If we're gonna get him to help make the movie better than what that first piece of shit was, I'm all for it.
And you got what's his name from Guardians directing it and writing it. So
yeah, James Gunn.
Oh, the movie's gonna be good. And then Batista, I heard it might be playing Peacemaker as well.
Yeah, Peacemaker.
Well, look at that other one that he's just done, that Brightburn. Jeez, I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh, who, Batista?
No. James Gunn.
Yeah, evil Superman.
Evil
Kinda,
Superman, yeah.
yeah. That looks
Nice.
scary.
Yeah, no, I'm all for that. All right. This past week on the Batman statue collector. So you guys like statues, you guys like Batman, go check out the Batman statue collector Facebook. What am I talking about? YouTube guy. Has had some really dynamite guests on his show recently, and he kind of runs with the Dark Castle guys a little bit, as does I myself, not so much. I'm more of the B team. Jason runs with them a lot. They had a live show with Sideshow Susan recently, and that was pretty cool. But this past Wednesday, they had a guest on that I thought was just absolutely freaking awesome. They had Athena Finger on this live show. And for those of you that don't know, Athena Finger is actually the granddaughter to the great and the one and only Bill Finger. So they were able to ask her a bunch of questions and stuff. Jason, this is your wheelhouse. Take it away, because I know where this conversation's going. We're going to end the show on a freaking bang.
Basically, look, I remember in 2015 when, just flicking through, there was the newspaper article that, the real creator of Batman's been credited. I'm like, real creator of Batman? What's this? Because I was never into all that sort of stuff. I just read the books, and I took as gospel what was written on the books, written and created by, that was truth, like most people that read these books. So, and I'd had arguments with older comic book fans in shops and that, but they're going, oh, you don't know Bill Finger, or, and Stan Lee created nothing, and all this. And I was always arguing. I'm going, nah, man, I've seen interviews with Stan Lee where he said he created this, he did that. You're just some random dude in a comic book shop. What would you know, Like, I believe what these guys are telling me because they're the big superstars of our industry. And, same, growing up, always saw the Bob Kane name splashed on the old TV show, and then more importantly, the 89 Batman movie, like in the first couple of seconds when you're seeing the symbol come up there, Batman created by Bob Kane, So when I watched that doco, and, I knew that there was obviously this other guy, Bill Finger, that had done some work and that hadn't been credited and finally was getting his credit through the news that came out in 2015. But I didn't know the backstory, So we watched the doco, Batman and Bill. It's available on Hulu and other streaming services. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you watch it.
Try not to throw a brick through the television while you're watching it. Continue.
Dude, yeah. Well, I've said to everyone, have a box of tissues ready. Have something available that you can punch, and have someone nearby that you can grab and cuddle at the end of the movie and just go, it was so fucking great. But, so, look, what we heard basically was this guy, Bill Finger, worked his ass off, created like over 50 to 75% of the content of the original Batman series, and basically got donuts for it. When he died, he had an eviction notice on his apartment building. He was estranged from his family, and he died at a very young age because he could never afford medical treatment or actually to even visit a doctor. While the guy that took credit for all the creation was living in a mansion in LA and living the high life, hobnobbing with celebrities and all this sort of stuff. So as you can tell, like, that shit just burns you, like, as a fan. You're like, that's not right, man. This guy created all this enjoyment that we love, and he got shat on, And basically I was also talking to Athena Finger, and I said, wow, yeah, it sort of sounds a bit like what Stan Lee did to a lot of the writers and artists and that at Marvel, when he just stole their ideas outright and put his name on it. And then when they tried to dispute it, he shut them down until they were taken to court, and he had to give it up and say, yes, this person did help create this and that, So I was a bit dismayed because I always thought DC was a bit better than that, but Athena really let us know that it was pretty much common practice, the work for hire agreements that they got these guys and had to sign basically ensured that whatever they created, they'd never have any claim to the rights or profits of down the track because they were getting paid to do a job. And, yes, that was pretty sad in that regard. But, look, it's good to see that DC is starting to make things right. They finally put Bill Finger's name on the comics, to TV shows. And, like, if you watch Gotham, you see his name mentioned there. If you've watched any of the DC movies after Batman v Superman, you see his name put up in on the big screen there. And even in the comics, you actually see now created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, which is great. They're making the right effort. And, hopefully they get a little slice of the pie and get looked after by DC for the multi-billion dollars that they make off this creation. It'd be nice to see the people who actually, had something to do with it get a little bit of financial reward for it.
Yeah, no, totally. I remember one part she had said, I'm in the chat room watching you guys. I was working nights that night, and I'm like watching it, and I'm like, holding all this emotion in because like I'm enamored with the whole Bill Finger story, and I think what she did, like even though she wasn't she's just a granddaughter. She's not just a granddaughter because she helped bring this to light too.
Yeah.
She's like an unsung hero of this whole thing as well. She had
this wouldn't have happened without her because you needed to be a living relative to actually start the ball rolling. The people that had gathered the evidence and stuff like that, they could do jack shit with it. All you could do was tell people and go, how wrong is that? And people going, yeah, man, that is wrong, But public outrage doesn't mean jack shit unless the person's there that can actually say, well, hang on, that person was my direct blood relative, like I'm going to fight on their behalf. They're no longer here, but I can. So that was the thing. Like, and she really didn't want to, which is fair enough. This was, her father had spent many, many years bashing his head up against the wall and spending a lot of money to try and get this in legal action and stuff like that, but to no avail, like basically DC just said, look, we've got this contract with Bob Kane. We signed this contract. If we agree that Bill created all this stuff, but we can't pay you money or give him billing on it because we've got this agreement in place with Bob Kane. And this agreement's never been shown. This is a mythical agreement that Bob Kane said existed and DC have said existed, but no one's ever seen it.
Right.
Bullshit. So if you had this agreement, you'd definitely show it.
Right.
As a corporation to go, hey, man, we're not the bad guys here. As you can see here, it's all this dude. Look at his signature. You know what I mean? So DC are involved in some way, shape, or form, or maybe they do believe what they've just been told by their predecessors and they've never actually seen the evidence. So things are hopefully starting to change. And
I remember in the chat you had mentioned when you had mentioned Stan Lee, and a few of us in the chat room with talking about Ditko and stuff like that. And she's like, it's funny, Stan Lee and Bob Kane were actually friends, good friends.
Yeah, good friends. So meet up on a Friday afternoon. Yeah.
Like, all right, how are we gonna fuck everybody?
Look, sitting there in the park over a pastrami roll, saying, "Who'd you fuck over this week?" Oh, well, I got this character and this character. Yeah, I did this to this bloke. Like
if you want to see a good documentary on this, check out "In Search of Steve Ditko" by Jonathan Ross. It's on YouTube, and yeah. Oh, you never seen it? Okay. There's Jonathan Ross asks Stan Lee if he thought that Steve Ditko was a co-creator, and just watch his answer. It's it's really condescending and arrogant.
Well, it's condescending and arrogant when you consider that, Jack Kirby actually explained what Stan Lee's role at DC at Marvel Comics was, and it was basically he was to play practical jokes on everybody and try and create a lighthearted environment in the workplace, and everyone hated him for it. And the other big job that he had was basically to write the speech bubbles of the writing that the writers actually gave him to put in there. So he didn't even create the writing. He just copied what they gave him to put in the speech bubbles. And that was his big job at Marvel Comics. And why he became so famous is because his uncle owned the company.
Right. He wrote 0 scripts. The artist would actually script it and plot the story themselves. And on the side would put liner notes instructing Stan or whatever, the writer, whoever that may be, Stan or I don't even know, what to write exactly and what was going on within the story. And that person doing that would not get writing credits. So that means they wouldn't get paid for writing it.
Yeah.
Just the art. Stan would get paid for writing it.
Yeah.
That was the Marvel method.
Yeah, man.
Concerning Spider-Man, from what I've researched, is that Jack actually came to Stan with the name Spider-Man.
Yeah,
the idea of Spider-Man.
And Ditko worked on the story and the art. Yeah.
Right, but actually Stan drew up his version of Spider-Man. It was some kid with a magic ring, and it was a different costume. And I think Stan didn't like it, which was okay. The only thing he actually did, I think, in the process, he gave it to Ditko instead, and Ditko then created the suit and the side characters and fleshed out the whole idea. But I think the name originally came from Jack, and Jack is actually drew the first cover of the first appearance of Spider-Man. So he was there in the beginning, but I think Ditko did most of the heavy lifting in that.
Yeah.
And in that interview that I referenced with Jonathan Ross, he actually he says that okay, Steve Ditko is a co-creator, and he goes, if it means that much to him, I said he is the co-creator. If it means that much to him, that's how he prefaced it.
Yeah.
Which means he doesn't.
Money.
Yeah, and then Ross was like prodding him, like, do you believe that he's the co-creator? And he goes, well, I gave it to him. If it means so much to him, I give him the co-creator. But I think that the one who creates it is the one who thought of it first. That was his reason. So he thinks that he came up with Spider-Man, and then he handed it off to Ditko, and Ditko filled out everything else. But he's the sole creator, because he came up with the idea. He popped it.
But then Jack Kirby turns around and says that he actually created it, and
right.
And I'm sorry, like we were talking about this off camera at the beginning of the show, when the greatest artists and writers of the 90s, when they all left Marvel to go and start their own companies, Image and Wildstorm, we're talking Jim Lee and McFarlane and guys like that. They didn't march over to Stan Lee's office. And now you remember, guys, these are the guys that did the show with Stan Lee where, welcome true believers, and I've got some stars with us today. And he did interviews and that, and he was supposedly really chummy with these guys. When they walked out of Marvel, before they walked out of Marvel, they organized to go and see Jack Kirby to get his blessing, to see if they were doing the right thing. And he said, hell yeah, you're doing the right thing. If Stan Lee was such a brilliant mind and writer and stuff like that, wouldn't they have gone to Stan Lee?
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of going to Jack Kirby? And, like when Kirby left Marvel, he walked straight across the road to DC, and they said, what can we give you to come here? Do you know what I mean? Because they knew what he'd created for Marvel. He basically got a company that was virtually bankrupt and about to be sold out from underneath them for parts. And DC were rubbing their hands with glee because they were looking, well, this character, we're going to purchase them rights, and they're all going to be ours. Everything's going to be under one house. Ha, 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 And he turned around and said, give me a month. I'll create you 10 new books. Did it, and actually saved the company and turned it into the big conglomerate that it is today. But it was all Stan Lee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think
not
a lot
Jack
of people
Kirby.
like that. That the allure of Stanley was he's a figurehead, and he's a fun guy. He's like, the funny old uncle or grandpa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
that's in the comics.
That thing going for him. But and I know that when these stories come out, a lot of guys are like, oh, fuck that, I don't care. Stanley, and it's like they're just kind of like.
They think that, some of these modern fans, they think that he created everyone and everything.
They do because of the movies. They have never read a comic in their life, and they go, well, he wouldn't have been in the movie if he didn't create it. And you're like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I don't know. That's just...
Look, even I said to you yesterday, on Darth Castle, I went on the big rant about this, and the rest of the boys went quiet because we've already had this discussion private, and they were, I don't believe that, and I just fucking read this link, read this, and they'd go, wow, man, I had no idea. And I'm like, yeah, most people fucking don't.
Yeah, no, the rabbit hole's real deep with this shit, man. You know? Like
before I discovered any of this shit, I think it was early 2000s. I took an Amtrak train to North Carolina, and with me to pass the time, I brought the New Gods from Jack Kirby trade paperback. It was like a black and white version of it, the whole series, and I read the whole thing on the train, and I was like, this man did this all by himself. Written and drawn by Jack Kirby, and I was like, this is as good as freaking anything that he's done with Stan Lee. It's like he didn't miss a beat, and it's because he didn't.
Yeah, because he didn't. And Stan Lee did jack shit. But you touched on something really good there too. that was written and created by him. But here's the thing, everything else that he done, like when he was doing all them books with Marvel, because he was doing so many, he had to have people involved. And there is not one thing that has his name on it where it just says created and written by Jack Kirby. He's always got, and they even said to him at Marvel, oh, we don't want to give that person credit. You created this, you know? And he goes, no, man. He goes, I gave the guy the idea and gave him direction and told him this is what I want, but he actually did the work. So he gets a credit. That gives you an idea of what kind of guy he was. You know what I mean? He wasn't in it for the glory or anything like that. He was in it to create iconic characters that we all know and love today. And he wanted to tell stories.
What got me with the whole interview with Athena that you guys did was I'm sitting there thinking to I'm like half listening and half thinking, like I'm processing and I'm emotional and all that. And I'm writing in the chat and I say to myself, you know, like, and this always sounds weird. Like when you say something, I'm not a religious person. I grew up a Catholic, but I'm not a religious person. And her grandfather creating Batman is borderline. I'm going to upset a lot of people when I say this, but just give me a second to get this out. This is modern mythology. This is like if you rewind the clocks 2,000 years, Batman is Jesus, Hades, Neptune. He falls in line with all of these stories. Like these are our modern mythology.
It's how we talk about Hercules today. You go 2,000 years in the future, they'll still be talking about Batman.
Exactly. You know, so it's like when people say, "Oh, they're just comic characters," not really. Like you know, like it's a little bit more than just a silly comic book at this point. These characters have permeated to like this otherworldliness of they're like new gods, kind of. You know, they're like those. When I sit with my kid at night and tell him stories, I don't tell him stories about Jesus and the Greek pantheon. I'm telling him stories of Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and the like. So it's like you know, to watch you guys have an interaction with this with Miss Finger is almost like otherworldly. It's like you're a descendant of somebody who created like something that's going to live forever.
Comic book royalty, yeah.
You know, like it's, and at this point, I think it even transcends comic books and stuff because now it's movies, pop culture. It's ingrained in who we are. You know, a lot of us, and I'll speak for myself. I know there are other people out there that are like me, make decisions based on like, well, what would like Captain America or Batman do in this situation? Yeah. You know, Rob might cut the guy off on the highway or tell him to go fuck himself, but you know, we think like, well, what would the heroes do that are, you know, supposed to be better than us? We're supposed to look to be, to aspire to be better than the people we are. And a character like Batman it falls into that, man. He's transcended that, like just a silly comic book character, you know?
Yeah.
So that's when I was watching that, I was getting emotional and shit. I was like, okay,
I wanted to mention something else too. So if you do want to see an example of Stan Lee's actual writing, have a read of something called Stan Lee Presents Justice League, and it is the biggest heap of trash you will ever read in your life.
Oh, is that like if Stan Lee created the DC Universe type shit?
Yeah, yeah. And mate, I'm telling you now, it was the weakest, most boring, convoluted mess that I've ever read in a comic book.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, a lot of people give Stan Lee and the old school writers maybe, I don't want to see more credit than they deserve because that was a different time. Like I love the Silver Age trite stuff from DC, but at the same time, you know, the modern stories are better stories. I mean, you know, they have like the Batman that's in like his pink outfit and the rainbow Batman and all that. I just like the look of that, and I enjoy the funness of it, you know, and the nostalgia aspects. But I don't want to take anything away from what you're saying and from like, you know, Stan Lee not being that great of a writer or any of that, but you know. Then Baz made a mention of the New God stories that were actually written and drawn, which were also just like the Marvel stories by Jack Kirby, and those are just great stories, you know. So I mean, maybe that analogy doesn't work because he was just that good. Yeah. Anything else, fellas?
What are some of your favorite current writers right now?
Still Grant Morrison,
Yep.
Johns. You know, like it's sad with Johns because now he's bloody stepped down, so all his books are getting slowed right down. So
have you read the new Green Lantern? That's amazing from Grant Morrison.
Yes, I have.
Oh
fantastic, loving it.
It's like a full story each issue, but it's still connected to a larger story.
And I think it was Ordway and a few others from the 90s in the 90s runs in the Superman books and stuff. They were just like my gods, love them. But like if it has to be Morrison and Johns as the top two for me. So those runs that they did of JLA and stuff like that in the 90s, like Tower of Babel and things like that were just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty much my two right there.
Rob, just a fan, right? Scott Snyder. I'm gonna.
Scott Snyder too with the current metal stuff and that. Yeah,
I think everything he's doing now is like he's kind of grabbing the Jeff Johns ball and saying, "Don't worry, I got it. Go make movies."
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he reminds me of Johns a lot.
For me, I'm gonna go with Ed Brubaker just because I love everything that he does. But he's not much of a superhero-y type guy. But he's like, as far as anytime somebody mentions, hey, I want to get into comics and some new trades, what should I read? I'm like, look, if you're going to get into superheroes, you got to look at like what you guys had just mentioned, your Jeff Johns, your Grant Morrisons and stuff like that, obviously Alan Moore, whatever. But there's just no touching, in my opinion, what Brubaker does with his crime noir stuff when he with Sean Phillips.
Sorry, that's who I forgot to
He's
mention.
doing Criminal again.
Mark Millar. Some of his
Mark Millar is fucking awesome, but you say he's doing Criminal again?
Yeah, Brubaker's on Criminal again. Yeah,
I just finished reading, and I didn't even read the whole thing, but I'm like, I think a trade away from completing it. This comic called Kill or Be Killed, which is a reuniting of Jeff Johns and are you guys familiar with that comic at all?
No, no. I've got to be honest. I've actually got to the point now with the reading. I'm just doing the straight DC, like the main ones, because I just haven't had the time, to branch into other comics.
Kill or Be Killed for those that are watching now. And Baz, are you familiar with that, Baz?
Yeah, you told me about it before.
Yeah,
Sounds
it's
amazing.
Like a kid tries to commit suicide, and a demon comes to him and says, like, you're going to I'm going to allow you to live. Like he's begging for his life because he fucked up, and the demon's like, yo, you can I'll give you your life back, but you got to kill for me. Basically, and if you don't, you'll die. So the kid agrees, and now this young kid has got to go around killing people, but he goes in rounds and kills, sacrifices blood for this demon. And if as the month he has to kill one person a month, and if he doesn't, he starts to get sick as the weeks go by because he's not placating the demon and shit. And it's written in a way where is it really a demon? Is it all happening in his head? Did the kid just go nuts? Did he even try to commit suicide in the first place? Is the demon really there? It's wild. It's some fucking crazy shit. But
I like that. If it leaves it up to you to try to figure out if this is really happening or not.
Yeah, exactly. It's wild and shit.
And a snatch.
Yeah, it's
there you go.
All right, guys, we have we're gonna get after the 2-hour mark. The YouTube I think cuts us off when we do that when we post it up. But I did post this in the description, so I want to go around the room real quick and top 3 favorite female superheroes because of the whole Captain Marvel thing, and because we don't like the Captain Marvel actress or movie or whatever. I want to keep it positive. So, what are your guys' favorites? Top 3 female superheroes, and we'll start with Baz.
Wonder Woman, Black Canary, Zatanna.
Nice. And is it in that order, 1, 2, and 3?
Pretty much, yeah. Nice.
Awesome. What about you, Jay?
Wonder Woman, number 1.
There's just so many, right? Possibilities.
Well, Black Canary, just because of the leadership skills that she's displayed with the Justice League in the past. And I'm going to go Power Girl, Kara Zor-El.
Nice. Awesome.
Nice.
Freaking good. So that's, Rob Just Fan says, Wonder Woman, Big Barda. Big Barda's fucking awesome, too.
Oh, yeah, great.
I always forget bloody Big Barda.
I'm actually going to go 2 DCs and a Marvel. I actually had 3 DCs as well. I bumped Black Canary out of my 3rd spot. and I went with Rogue as my number 3 because I just love her. And that's like 90s Rogue when she was dating Gambit and shit. And then eventually when they did the Age of Apocalypse stuff, I just loved her when she became a leader and shit. So, and I love her power set. She is actually a better Miss Marvel. She absorbed her powers. So I'm going with Rogue as my number 3. Zatanna is my number 2 because I just love her outfit. I love the look. I like the fact that she rolls with like the dark powers and stuff. As far as like the Justice League Dark and all that, she hangs with John Constantine. I just think she's a cool ass character. And obviously, number 1's Wonder Woman. I mean, how the hell could it not be Wonder Woman?
Yeah, actually, I want to add one more. Just it's just a dark horse. I want to throw in Miss Martian.
Oh, cool.
And I'm glad that you guys picked actual super heroines because I actually have different characters that are my favorite girls in comics. Like I have favorite comic book girls, or like Catwoman almost made that list, but to me she's not a super heroine. She's a super villain, or she bounces, plays both sides. So as far as the sake of superhero goes, those are my 3 favorite, but there are also other girls in comics that I may like more, but this is about specifically superheroes.
Speaking about Miss Martian, you know what I like about her? That she's not just like just another Green Martian. You know, like kind of like just like the same old like she's not redundant from John Johns. She's actually a white Martian that actually pretends like covers up to be a Green Martian because the white Martians are so vilified and on her planet. Yeah, so she comes with a nice backstory.
Nice. Freaking awesome. Again, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. I know this has been a massively long show. Not every show is going to be this long. Please remember to subscribe to the Red Cup Review. Subscribe to the Odd Couple Statue Collectors. Jason
Odd Couple Statue Reviews.
Odd Couple Statue Reviews. Jason does some awesome stuff with his son, and they got an insane collection of very expensive, very nice looking statues. Obviously, the Source Wall with Baz. Baz will be here pretty much every week with us. Again, please write in the comments whether you guys like the 8 o'clock or the 10 o'clock spot better. I'm going to try and do this at 8 o'clock. Again, it's not always going to go 2 hours. It's just been so long since we were able to come together. This was almost like us hanging out for the first time in a few weeks as well, because I haven't gotten to see these guys either or talk to them too much because of my job. Rob Just a Fan says perfect timing. I'm still awake. LOL. Yeah, Rob's been asking for us to go earlier for the longest time. So we'll see. We'll see how this works. We'll be alive again next week. Baz, move the mic from your mouth. We'll be live.
Yo, Jason, I just want to say, come back, bro. You're one of my favorite guests because you actually like read comics.
Oh yeah, man, definitely.
You know,
yes,
your stuff.
That was awesome. That was a last minute thing too. Jay was like, "Yo, I'm available. You want me to come on?" I'm like, "Yeah, goddamn right, I do." So that was cool as well. Anyways, gentlemen, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the Red Cup Review, enter to get this damn stupid thing, and whatever, man. We'll see you guys next week. And I got some other stuff cooking, but I got to still worry about work. So we'll see you then. Gentlemen, don't leave just yet. And I'll see everybody in the chat next week, guys. Thanks for joining us.